morning it was supposed to be a 50-mile group ride from the San Jose Mission to Somerset and back. That didn't work out. It was raining a little bit this morning, so I slept in a little bit and had a good breakfast. Now I'm off to do an FTP test. I haven't done an FTP test. You know, I bought a power meter I think in like May or June. Never did it. Exert Online tells me it's like around 245. We'll see. You know, I just am at the 9-month mark of cycling. Haven't been cycling for that long. So, yeah, feeling good, feeling positive. We'll see how it goes. So, let's go.
Missing someone. We're here in Castroville. I finally made it to FM 471, and I'm doing like a little route recon before I get started. I'm just trying to find a good spot where the elevation is nice and uphill consistently. I think at mile 2.5 right here at this red, looks like a restaurant, red painted restaurant. That's a good starting point because it's pretty steady going uphill from here. I'm gonna probably turn around here in a little bit, load the bike, and do a quick warm up, and then knock out the FTP test. And you did it right from the start. And you did it right from the start. Missing someone is as normal. Missing someone, and missing someone is as normal. Missing someone.
Oh my gosh, just got back to the car. Just got back to the car. That was so much fun. Probably one of the worst cycling related bike rides I've ever done. Actually, you know, I take that back. Whenever I did, I think it was like a 45 or 60 mile bike ride, my first 40 days of cycling. Biggest mistake ever. That was the worst. This is the second worst. I'm gonna get back home. We'll break down this data, look at the data real quick, and see how I did. FTP analysis. Let's do this, guys. Okay. So what I did was I broke this down in 5, 10, 15, and of course 20-minute segments. Let's go ahead and get started. So I can tell you, right whenever I first started, I probably was pushing it a little bit too hard. I think I had around like 300 watts to start with, and then I slowed down. I finally got it dialed in. It took me a little while to figure out like my goal for the watts that I wanted to maintain, which when I first started was like right around 260, 270 range. I think I dialed it down a notch after 5 minutes. At the 5-minute mark, I think I knew that 270 was too high of a watt average to hold for 20 minutes. So I think at the 5-minute mark, that's whenever I said, okay, let's try and at least hold 260. So I changed it from 270 to 260. Overall, I felt pretty good. I had a constant headwind, and I think the first 5 minutes was all uphill. So both those things, the headwind and uphill, definitely helped me out in maintaining a constant rate of power through the pedals. The road did have a lot of gravel though. But yeah, so like 5 minutes, I averaged 265 watts. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. So, like I said, I was having a hard time trying to hold that. So I made that adjustment from after 5 minutes to just go down to about 260. So 10-minute mark, still feeling pretty good. Average was 258 this time. I know that it started to drop because there was a couple of little downhill sections that
it dipped down to like, I think 190, 180, just for, you know, like 10 seconds. I was feeling all right. I think right at 12 minutes, that's whenever I started feeling it. 15-minute mark here, the average dropped down to 255. I was having some fatigue start to set in, and plus there were a couple little downhill sections where it was really tough for me to hold you know, a good cadence and maintain that power of 260 at least. You know, I was really having a hard time, and I was just you know, trying to get as close to 260 as I could. I think there was one section in there in the power curve that I noticed there was a spike. I think that's right when the lactic acid started to build up so bad I needed to stand up just for a second and kind of try and flush that out of my legs. So then we're at the 20-minute mark. I'm about to die. I do a little last-minute sprint for just like the last 2 seconds, I think, where I hit 500 watts. And my average for the whole 20-minute FTP test was 255. You know, I felt a little bit disappointed. I wanted to be somewhere in the 260, 270 range, but that's all right. This is my first FTP test. I can't set too lofty a goal since I'm just starting out. That breaks down to, you know, you take 95% of that. So that's like 242 watts for my FTP. So I feel really good about the effort that I did throughout the entire FTP test. Let's go ahead and take a look at the zone distribution chart to see like kind of some weak spots. If you notice, I was at VO2 max for 43%, threshold at 45% of the time, and then I was at tempo for 1 minute and 12 seconds. So yeah, there are some spots in the FTP test that I kind of just let loose a little bit too much. Ideally, I would like to be at least zone 4, zone 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the power curve. So this power curve chart shows 2 lines, and the 2 lines represent, the light colored purple line represents all of 2018, my best efforts at those time increments, and then the dark purple line represents that ride, the FTP test ride, my power curve. My best ever in 2018 before this FTP test was 228 watts. This FTP test ride was 255 watts. That's a difference of 27 watts in 3 months' time. Is that good or bad? I don't know. So this data only goes back to my first recorded ride with the power meter, which happened sometime around, I think, May 28th. So that's pretty interesting. You know, I'm a data freak. I love getting into the analytics of things. I know improvements are not a linear line. It's a non-linear line, so that means like you have some like ebbs and flows of improving, maintaining. But let's just, you know, play devil's advocate and say 1 year from now, what that linear line would predict. So I did the math. If I improve every 3 months, 27 watts, after 1 year, that would put me at 336 watts for an FTP test. You know, I'm only doing this to kind of turn myself into a test bunny. So, you know, let's see how close I get to 336 watts in 1 year from now. 1 year from, what would be? I guess it would be May. So May 2019, let's see if how close I get to 336 watts. I'll make a video going back to this and kind of like comparing and seeing how close I got to it. I'd like to hear some feedback from you guys. Like, what was your first FTP test like? What are some things, some advice that you would give me in, you know, having a better FTP test? Maybe that one part where I dropped down into that zone 3. You know, share your story. I'd like to hear back from you guys. If you haven't subscribed, guys, please do me a favor. Go down below, hit the subscribe button, and then the little bell icon so you get notified anytime I make any new posts, any new videos. I've also got my Strava profile link down below. Make sure you go and add me on Strava so you can follow me in all my activities. If you're on Instagram a lot, I'm starting to get on Instagram, post more stories on there, so it's a little bit more personal of a day-to-day kind of journal of what it is I'm up to every day. So make sure you add me on Instagram, and that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.